Good afternoon from A Bit Twisted. So today I'm going to go over a little bit with some flax I got from Egypt. So this is a batch of flax I got from Omar out in Egypt. Omar and his family and their business. And this is a little bit coarser fiber, but very similar to what I've done here on my property. And what I'm doing is looking for an alternate source for people to buy their flax already done down to the fiber, almost ready to go on the spinning wheel for a reasonable price. And so far, Omar and one other is providing that for people out here who want some fiber. So they deal with very large customers, but they are selling on the side to us, which I'm very thankful for. And so this is some of the Egyptian fiber. It's nice and long. It's very good quality and a little bit longer than what I've grown here, finished product. And this is ready to go on the distaff. And this has been hackled already and ready to go. And so I found that even though they're coming like this, seemingly ready to go, because they're really tight and been sitting like this for a while, they're not ready to go because they do get a little tangled in here. And then we have to open them up. And a suggested method of opening these up is once you unwrap it, then you just kind of snap it like a whip and help open the fibers. And it works somewhat, but it's still not ready to put on the spinning wheel unless you are the type of person who loads their distaff by, once you have it open, you open it from the side and then you just kind of roll it onto the distaff and then pull from there so everything's kind of loose, tangled. But you wouldn't put the whole piece on like this. So I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to unwrap it. And you can see that it's still kind of twisted on itself, and that's because it's been sitting that way for a while. And so what you might want to do is you might want to split it in half, split it in thirds, like this. And so I'm going to split this up into thirds, reasonable thirds, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to finish processing them. But as you can see, there's still some fiber kind of floating around here. And this stuff you don't want to leave out and get stuck in your lawnmower either, because it'll wrap around your blades. So anyway, if you're doing it outside. So anyway, this is not ready to go. And I also found that this batch, as well as this other batch, was not as retted as I'd like to see. It's not bad, but the way you tell if it's not fully retted is that there's ribbons of fiber instead of just individual fibers. And where you're getting the ribbons, you want to comb that for sure to help break those ribbons up so your fiber separates a little better. So the dark end is tip, light end is root, and I hang mine by the root end and I pull from the tip, because I pull mine straight down and straight out. So I need everything nice and straight, everything combed and smooth, the way I do this. So the method that the one guy said is you just kind of wrap it like this, and then you just flick it, and that helps open everything up, which it does. It doesn't do too bad of a job. And so if you're load your distaff differently than what I do, then that might just be fine. But what I find is there's tow in here, short fibers, free in between here. And as I'm pulling, all those free little fibers start getting tangled as it's being pulled through the bunch of fiber here. And that messes things up, and it creates these little spider tangles that need to be removed. And once you get a spider tangle, you have to stop, pull it apart, and then resplice and start spinning again. And I'd like to have the least amount of splices possible. So I'm not convinced that this is fully ready, but and especially if there's some ribbons of fiber rather than just individual fibers, you need to break it up a little bit with your hackle. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the same with these. And this is a finer fiber than this other stuff that I showed you here. And that's nice. I like the finer fiber, and I'm working on making some myself here this year for this next harvest. So we're just going to snap it. And that just loosens things up, gets a little bit of junk and stuff out of it that might still be in it. You can see all the little stuff flying around. Well, that's all loose, and that all tangles, and that can get into your stuff, like this short little piece here. And that's just ribbon. That's not even individual fibers. And that's because of poor retting. So now what we do after this point, so you can still tell the difference in color, so you can keep an eye on the tip end and the root end. And I definitely like pulling from the root end and or pulling from the tip end and hang from the root end. So it's an easy way to tell which end is which. So I'm going to pull out my trusty old antique hackle here. Little guy's 200 years old this year, and it's in very, very good condition. And so what I want to do now is I want to hackle it, so I'm going to wrap my hand around this. I'll lay it down on here, and then I'm just going to start pulling. That gets some long fibers that aren't quite as long as this, and that pulls them out. And those are fibers that can cause tangles. These little spider tangles as you're spinning if you hang your fiber the same way I do. The nice thing is this fiber, which is fine, it's a much finer fiber. The nice thing is this stuff I don't get nearly as much tow or tangles, which is really nice compared to the other stuff. The other stuff that I got required more, but I still got a lot of fiber from it to spin. Even for the price, I don't mind having some tow because I'll use it for other spinning projects. But having finer fiber is better because you can have thinner thread. I'm not finding my thread is any thinner, but that might be down to my technique. So I'm going to reserve judgment on myself on that. So I'll do the tip end first, and then I'll do the root end. And then I'll go back and do the tip real quick. Get anything else that might have stuck. And that's it. That's just this little, that's just a little bit of tow out of here, but it's all usable because this is clean. So definitely don't throw it away. But you're going to need a good hackle, whether you make one or find a really good used one. And I got real lucky with this used one here. Most of them are not as good a quality or as good of shape as what this one is for the price. So again, we're gonna go with the tip. When I grow my own, the tips tend to be the ones that have a lot of junk in them, and then I throw those away because my breaking, the way I break my fiber, doesn't take out much, and get a lot of tips of the plant, and I don't like that too much. But their process is really nice. I like it, and it still leaves it to where you can tell what the tip end is and what the root end is. And just a little bit more. And there's a little dusty. Flax tends to be dusty, and that's from the pectins that are holding, and also some of the really short fibers and bits. It's just a natural thing. So and so this is a better retted than what the other is. Go back to the tip, hit the tip again, make sure I got all the tangles, and I've got that. And I'll do this last one here. And so I would definitely figure out how to make some hackles if you're going to do this. Not sure what other people's experience are with the flax here from Omar, because he's been selling to some other folks. But I'd bet that people would have better results if they hackle theirs. And I'm definitely, if I order any more from Omar here, which I know I will, even though I'm growing my own, I'm going to definitely get the finer fiber. It's a much better quality. Now I'm going to do the root end. Root end tends to get a lot of short stuff. A lot of toe comes from the root end. It's also the thicker end of everything. But like I said, this particular fiber here is much better than the first batch, even though I like them both. So I'm not knocking any of their product. Just explaining what I find, and in my experience from growing and processing my own, and that's what I compare it to. And I'm quite pleased with all this. Okay, so one more time at the tip, real quick. Pulled a couple more long pieces out. Okay. And so now I've got another batch, and also this long stuff. This other stuff looks longer. Not much. It's about the same. So now I have all this, and once you can feel the difference, it's hard to see it in the camera, but you can feel the difference. So now this is two stricks worth. And one strick worth of toe that came out of one of these. And that's fine. This is all very usable. Makes some really nice short line fiber, and spin some more. So I'm saving it all. And it can be used for midwinter project in the house, and I can process the rest of this in the house using wool combs. Just be light amount and be careful, and you can do that. So that's what I have, and so that's what I have, and hope you enjoyed that, and we'll talk to you all later.